What's up, retro gamers, and welcome back to the channel. Now, if you grew up in the 90s, you probably have some serious PTSD from certain Sega Genesis levels. You know the ones I'm talking about, those absolutely soul-crushing stages that made you throw your controller and question your life choices. Today, we're counting down the 10 most punishing, controller-breaking, sanity-destroying levels that the Sega Genesis had to offer. Fair warning. Just talking about these might trigger some repressed memories. In at number 10, Scrap Brain Zone Sonic the Hedgehog. We're starting with a classic that traumatized an entire generation. Scrap Brain Zone from the original Sonic the Hedgehog is where dreams go to die, people. Just when you think you've mastered the speed and flow of Sonic, this mechanic nightmare hits you with everything at once. We're talking trapdoors that send you plummeting into spikes, disappearing platforms over bottomless pits, and those sadistically placed enemies that seem to know exactly when you're going to jump. But the real kicker? Those underwater sections that turn our speedy blue hedgehog into a slow, panicking mess, desperately searching for air bubbles. The stress is real, and that drowning music still haunts my nightmares. Moving on to number 9, we have the infamous tube race from Earthworm Jim. This level is proof that sometimes being creative can be absolutely diabolical. Picture this. You're piloting a submarine through a maze of underwater tubes, but oh wait, there's a timer ticking down, the controls are wonky, and dying is easier than breathing. The learning curve is basically a vertical wall, and you're expected to master it while racing against the clock. But here's the thing though, there's actually a secret oxygen supply hidden in this level that most players have never found without pure dumb luck or reading about it online years later. Even with that knowledge, this stage is still an absolute nightmare that tested friendships and broke spirits. At number 8, we have what I consider one of the most underrated difficult games on the Genesis, The Adventures of Batman and Robin. This game looks gorgeous and perfectly captures the animated series vibe, but man, it does not mess around. Snow in July is the 4th level where you're supposed to be building up to face Mr. Freeze, but first, you have to survive what feels like an infinite enemy spawn point. I'm talking relentless waves of bad guys that just keep coming and coming until you start wondering if your game is glitched. It's the perfect combination of brutally tough and mind-numbing repetitive. You'll be grinding your teeth while button mashing away through what feels like the longest gauntlet in gaming history. Number 7, the Stampede, the Lion King. And number 7 takes us to one of the most emotionally devastating moments in animation history, made even worse by turning it into a gameplay nightmare. The Stampede from the Lion King Genesis game. As if watching Mufasa's death wasn't traumatizing enough for 90s kids, some genius decided to make us relieve it through impossibly precise platforming. The level switches from the timing has to be absolutely perfect. The controls feel different, and just when you think you're getting the hang of it, rocks start appearing directly in your path with split-second warning. It's like they wanted to make sure we were thoroughly traumatized from every possible angle. Number 6, Headquarter Blitz, Target Earth. Number 6 brings us to a hidden gem that deserves way more attention, Target Earth. This mech suit run and gun game was incredibly fun, but absolutely unforgiving, and Headquarter Blitz is the crown jewel of its cruelty. This is the 6th stage, right before the final push, and it's where the game decides to throw everything it's got at you. We're talking screen-filled enemies, precise timing requirements, and a level that goes on simply forever. Choosing the right weapons can help, but even then, you're in for a world of hurt. This game has faded into obscurity over the years, probably because people never made it past this absolute monster of a level. Honestly, a modern remake would be amazing, but they'd probably have to tone down this stage just to keep the people from rage quitting. At number 5, we have one of the most cruel levels in gaming history, Dice Palace from Gunstar Heroes. This game is an absolute masterpiece of run and gun action, but this level is where it shows its true colors. The concept here is brilliant. You're playing a giant board game where landing on different squares sends you into battle with various mini-bosses. It's incredibly innovative, and you could get lucky and breeze through, or the dice could just decide to torture you by sending you to the hardest squares over and over again. There's skill involved in the actual fights, but sometimes Lady Luck just wants you to suffer, and there's nothing you can do about it. Number 4 takes us to what many consider the most challenging game in the entire Contra series, and that's saying something. Red Falcon Redux from Contra Hardcore is where even Contra veterans meet their match. Now, Contra Hardcore is generally known for being difficult but fair. This level throws that philosophy out the window and decides to just be mean. Everything that makes Contra great, the fast-paced action, the screen-filled enemies, the reflex testing challenges, is cranked up to 11 and then some. The giant boss fight at the end is terrifying. The enemy patterns are relentless, and even choosing the right character and weapon might just not be enough. This level separates the casual Contra fans from the absolute legends. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, our top 3. In at number 3, we have just what might be the most diabolically creative level design in Genesis history. Castle Proserpina from Castlevania Bloodlines. This level starts off brutal enough with the flying Medusa heads and boss rematches leading up to the final battle with Death himself, but then Konami decided to get really nasty. The screen splits up into 3 horizontal sections that shift around independently, creating this disorienting nightmare that's impossible to describe without experiencing it. Just when you think you've adapted to the screen-splitting madness, the game flips everything upside down for good measure. It's like Konami looked at their already challenging game and said, you know what? Let's make sure these kids never sleep peacefully again. Alright, we're down to the final 2. These are levels that separate the true Genesis warriors from everyone else. At number 2, we have the underwater base from Ecco the Dolphin. This isn't just hard, it's pure psychological torture disguised as a video game. We're talking about navigating through pitch black, maze-like underwater tunnels while constantly managing your oxygen, dealing with nightmarish alien creatures, and trying to solve cryptic puzzles that seem designed by someone who hates joy. The entire Ecco series is basically an aquatic fever dream, but this level cranks the existing dread up to 11. You're lost, confused, running out of air, and questioning every life choice that led you to this moment. It's not just challenging your gaming skills, it's challenging your mental health. The combination of claustrophobic level design, terrifying sound effects, and genuinely confusing objects creates something that's less than a video game level and more like an interactive panic attack. This is difficulty through pure psychological warfare. And finally, claiming our number 1 spot is the most legendary controller destroyer in gaming history, Level 5 from Battletoads on the Genesis. Now I know what you're thinking, hey, that's originally an NES game, but the Genesis port deserves recognition for bringing this absolute nightmare to Genesis fans and proving that some forms of digital cruelty are truly universal. This speed bike section is legendary for all the wrong reasons. We're talking about split-second timing, pixel-perfect precision, and patterns that require the reflexes of a fighter pilot combined with the memorization skills of a chess grandmaster. The margin for error is basically non-existent. Most players have never seen what comes after this level, and honestly, that's probably a blessing. This stage has ended more gaming sessions, more broken controllers, and caused more existential crises than any other single level in video game history. It's not just difficult, it's insulting. It's like the developers looked at their game and said, well, you know what? Let's create something that people question why they enjoy video games in the first place. And somehow, they succeeded perfectly. This level doesn't just separate casual gamers from hardcore players. It separates humans from machines. If you've beaten this level, you're not just a gamer, you're a certified digital warrior who has stared into the abyss of impossible difficulty and somehow emerged victorious. And there you have it, the most brutal, unforgiving, friendship-ending levels that the Sega Genesis had to offer. Which one gave you the most trouble? Drop a comment below with your most traumatizing Genesis gaming memory. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane through gaming nightmares, smash that like button and subscribe for more retro gaming content. We've got tons more brutal gaming moments to explore, from the NES classics to the PS1 nightmares. And hey, if you actually beat all of these gaming levels back in the day or even today, you're not just a gamer, you're a certified gaming legend. Wear that badge with pride. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep gaming, and remember, no level is impossible, just some require more therapy afterwards. Peace out.